Researchers once built a slot machine with a secret. It wasn't random. Behind the scenes, it was quietly rigged to make you almost win. Twice as often as it let you actually win. Then they put people inside a brain scanner, and what they found explains something you've probably felt, but never had a name for. Why coming this close to something can feel worse than missing it entirely. In 2009, a research team at Cambridge, led by Luke Clark, built a simplified slot machine for an experiment. 2 reels, 6 symbols each. Line them up, and you win a small amount of real money. Here's the part participants weren't told. The machine was secretly designed so that a real win happened on 1 out of every 6 spins. But a near miss, the reel stopping just 1 symbol short of the win, was built to happen on 2 out of 6 spins, twice as often as an actual win. By design, not by chance. While people played, their brains were being scanned the entire time. Here's what the scans revealed. When someone landed a genuine win, a brain region called the ventral striatum, a core part of the reward circuit, lit up, exactly as you'd expect. But here's the part that shouldn't make sense. When someone hit a near miss, a complete loss, 0 money, nothing gained, that same reward region activated almost as strongly as an actual win. And when researchers asked people how the near miss actually felt, they rated it as more unpleasant than a plain, ordinary loss. Worse to experience. And yet, it lit up the brain's reward circuitry, nearly the same as winning. So here's the question worth sitting with. How can something feel worse and get treated like a reward at the exact same time? Because your brain's reward system was never built to track a clean win or lose scoreboard. It's built to track proximity, how close you are to a goal, and it responds to that closeness, almost independently of whether you actually got there. A near miss gives your brain a very specific, very misleading signal. You were right there. The mechanism that fires when you're closing in on a reward doesn't distinguish well between "I almost got it" and "I'm about to get it." To an important part of your brain, those two feel disturbingly similar. That's why a near miss doesn't read as a clean loss. It reads as unfinished business, a signal that says, essentially, try again. You were so close, even though, mathematically, it was every bit as much of a loss as landing nowhere near the win at all. Which raises the real question underneath this whole video. If near misses feel worse, but push people to keep going, who benefits from making them happen more often? This is where it stops being an abstract quirk of brain chemistry and starts being a design choice. Researchers studying real commercial slot machines have found that near misses in actual casino games don't occur at the rate you'd expect from pure chance. Modern slot machines run on a virtual reel, a hidden mapping layer between what's spinning and what you see. And that mapping can be deliberately weighted to produce more near misses than random symbol placement ever would on its own. In other words, the exact effect Clark's lab found in a lab experiment, near misses recruiting reward circuitry, while feeling worse than a clean loss, isn't just something that happens to occur naturally in gambling. In real machines, it can be engineered directly into the game, precisely because a player who feels like they were so close is a player who keeps feeding the machine. And this pattern doesn't stay confined to casinos. Once you know what to look for, it shows up everywhere. A goal has a clear, close threshold. The job candidate who makes it to the final round and gets rejected doesn't move on the way someone who never made it past the first interview does. They replay it. Certain one different answer would have changed everything. The team that loses by 1 point in the final second, doesn't process the loss. The way a blowout gets processed, fans and players alike relive that single possession for years. The relationship that almost worked, that came right up to the edge of something real, before falling apart, tends to haunt people longer than one that never really got going in the first place. In every case, the almost isn't remembered as a loss. It's remembered as an open question. And open questions are exactly what a reward-tracking brain struggles to let go of. So, why does almost winning feel worse than losing completely? Because a clean, total loss gives your brain a clear signal. This is over. Move on. There's a strange mercy in a decisive defeat. Nothing left to replay. No reasonable case that it could have gone differently, with one small change. But a near miss gives your brain the opposite signal. It activates the same circuitry as a win, without delivering the actual reward, leaving you stuck in a kind of limbo the brain interprets as not finished yet, rather than finished. That unresolved feeling is precisely what keeps a gambler pulling the lever, a rejected candidate replaying the interview, a fan replaying the final play. Not because almost winning is more painful, in some abstract sense, but because it's specifically engineered by biology, and sometimes by design, to feel like a reason to try just one more time. If you've ever felt more haunted by a near success than by an outright failure, that's not a sign you're bad at losing. It's a sign your reward system did exactly what it was built to do. Treat almost as unfinished rather than as done. The uncomfortable part is realizing how easily that instinct can be used against you by a slot machine engineered to trigger it on purpose, or simply by your own mind, replaying a so close moment long after the actual math has settled. Knowing the difference between a genuine second chance and a brain chemically convinced there's one might be the only real edge you have. If this changed the way you see the world, the next video on your screen will change the way you see yourself. Click it now. And if you're fascinated by the psychology behind everyday life, subscribe, because we're just getting started.